All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, who are the only Israelites even worth mentioning when it comes to anything to do with us right now anyway, man. Because all the other Israelites are the scapegoats, are becoming the scapegoat for the whole reason why this whole Edomite society that we live in is falling, right? They're literally trying to, like it was already told by the prophets that Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai has got on this earth. They're literally trying to blame you Jakes for all the problems that are going on in their world because some of you commit crimes, but then they're ignoring all the crimes that their people commit. And they're like saying, oh, with this whole Shiloh Hendrix situation, right? They're saying, oh, the child's not really 5, blah, 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 and all of this, right? As if they don't in America literally have their basketball league called the NBA. And I looked up on the internet how old was Shaquille O'Neal when he was 10. And based on the reports that you will find, he was 6'4" when he was 10 years old. Now, that's very tall. So how tall would somebody that's like Shaquille O'Neal then have been when they're 5, right? Would they have not seemed like they might be the age of 10 years old? Might they have not looked way bigger than normal? But rather than acknowledge that this woman called that child that word and making it like as if you say something like that to a 10-year-old, that's somehow better than if there was 5. And then making it like a 5-year-old stealing a toy out of a bag is the same as a 5-year-old stealing like a toy, like or is the same as an adult stealing, man. When they know, when any adult knows, yeah, if that any adult with children knows that sometimes, not all children do this, but a lot of children touch things that are not theirs. They argue over toys, they argue over things, man. If they go into a store, they might not understand it. You have to buy things when you go in there, and they might pick things up and steal them. I watch a lot of body cam arrest channels. I watch Law and Crime Network, and on Law and Crime Network, they show a ton of videos showing all nationalities committing crimes. I watch a whole bunch of these videos that are based around in London, where it's showing people committing crimes in London. And what I've seen is a trend when the person has brown skin of any nationality outside of being an Edomite, use your suspects, this, and that, blah, blah, blah. When the person's an Edomite, they don't say anything about the crime. They're making excuses. They don't view, Edomites do not view crime the same way when it's done by their own people. They just don't. This is what we all know, and all this, like all you Jakes out there that you're shocked and surprised that Esau don't like you and that they're saying all of these things. Why are you surprised for? They've never needed an excuse to hate you. But when you give them an excuse, then they feel justified. But they wouldn't like you even if you wasn't doing nothing wrong. They didn't like the Israelites in the book of Maccabees because they were keeping the laws. So they're never gonna like you. They've never liked you. Don't you? Let me get a scripture, man. Like they've never liked us, right? So what you acting all shocked and surprised for, man? They don't like you, and they don't have to like you. That's the thing about it. They don't like you, but the thing is, you're not supposed to like them. And that's the reason why all of you are so flabbergasted about it, that are crying on TikTok and all that, about them getting £1 million and all that. These Edomites are dumb, don't you know that? And what you're gonna experience in this world is loads of broke, low-level bum Edomites, right? That like to call other people bums. They're gonna be trying to bait you Israelites into situations where they can hurt you, where they can harm you, where they can swear at you in some kind of way. They're gonna lie about what happened in the hope of getting a come up. From what I'm hearing now is that that woman that swore at that child in the park, called him an N-word and all this, they've became a millionaire based off that. But then these Edomites are dumb. Didn't another Edomite woman damn near become a millionaire because she said hawk tour? You got a hawk tour, spit on that thing, you get me? And then she repeated it again and she became a millionaire. And then she set up a meme coin and stole loads of money from her own people that believed and trusted that she was something good because she said hawk tour. Like as if that's some kind of high IQ that these people claim to be information when it's just dumb. These people are more likely to talk about some Israelites stealing than they're to talk about how the president of their own country crashed the stock market and made the SPY go from being worth 615 to going down to like the low fives. Drained out trillions from the stock market, but they're talking about some Jakes have just stolen. Mate, that was theft. The president of their own country, that's one of their own people, literally was talking with his friends in the board in the White House, saying you made two billion and you made 900 million. But what they've got to worry about is some Israelites stealing when they know that they steal themselves. That's the thing about it. They know that they steal, man. They know that they get on if they get on the train, right? If they get on the train and they know that the other stop at the train station, sometimes the barriers are open, but there's no inspector sometimes. They'll get on that train, right? And they won't pay. And then when the ticket inspector comes on, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't have time to buy a ticket, so I was in a bit of a rush. Knowing damn well they had time when I was on the train for the last 5 minutes to buy a train ticket, but they're trying to steal a fare. About almost a decade plus ago, I remember a friend of mine at the time, man. Their woman, who's an Edomite woman, she was on the bus, right, and she had a fake out of date bus pass on there, right? Some blue eyed Edomite woman, right? She had a fake bus pass, right? And then there was some Israelite teenagers as well that we was all teenagers at that time, like late teenagers, like 18, 19 or that 17 and that. And she was telling a story about how she was on the bus and she had a fake ticket. Her ticket was fake and out of date, right? And the Israelite was on there and his was real, right? And the ticket inspector, who was an Edomite, looked at her thing, didn't say anything, looked at the Israelites one and told him, get off the bus. So you Edomites don't even see things the same way when your own people do it, man. You Edomites need to be figuring out why all of your women are sleeping with the teenage students. You need to figure out that. Why don't y'all figure out that? Now, it's not only Edomite women doing that. I'm not going to lie, because we don't need to lie. All we need to do is tell the truth. But you Edomites need to figure out that. Figure out why y'all women are dealing with animals and all these things, man. Why don't you figure out that? Figure out why you thought you could try and bully China, but now China are exposing that your own society is corrupt and that the luxury items of your own society that you think are made by your own people, oh, it's made in Italy. No, it's actually not made in Italy. It's made by another nation that's not you. You've got to figure out these things, but all you're worried about, you damn devils, is pointing towards everyone else. And at the same time, you people claim that you're Christians, man. You claim that you're Christians, but your society is not based around what's written in the Bible, is it? The laws that you live by are not based on what's in the Bible. And the thing that's mad is some of these people that talk all this Edomite pride stuff and that, yeah, they'll complain about things like the LG3T community, right? But that's their own people that promote that. Their people are the ones that pushed it on our people. Because in the country that we are mostly the majority in, those things are not legalized like that, man. We're against those things naturally more than you are. In the country that you're in, you not only legalize it yourself, but then you make it, try and spread it so that everyone else can do those things as well. You're just weirdos and you can't tell the truth to save your life. Now, these so-called black people that commit these crimes, are they a problem in the earth? Yes, they are. But so are the so-called white people that commit problems in the earth too. But you Edomites don't want to talk about that stuff. And you think that you can talk about stats, right? But if so-called black people own the prison system, well, who would be the biggest stats in prison then? And if they were hypocritical like you, where they only watch and see anyone that doesn't look like them committing crimes, well then the stats would be different in their favor, if you even to believe the stats anyway, because I don't believe them stats, man. The way how they put them stats out there is every single time you even turn your head and see a so-called black person, they should be committing a crime. But is that what happens? Or is there a history in America of so-called black men being framed for crimes, being baited into giving confessions, being given money, financial compensations, because they was put in prison for no reason? Is there not stories of so-called white women ending up lying and ending up confessing that they lied? Does that not happen? Is that not a thing that happens? Expect to see a whole bunch of these Edomite bums, man, that like to try and talk about how rich and fake like their IQ's high and all this stuff, yeah? Expect for them to try and start baiting you Israelites into getting carnal, man. So that they can try and so-called defend themselves and get some, in the hopes of getting some money so that they can get on with their life, man. Expect that to happen. But there's never been a time where Esau's been acting like that before, where the Hebrew Israelite doctrine has been in the earth. So it's going to be different this time around, man, because eventually Israelites are going to be like, oh, this is why they're doing it. Yeah, we are the Israelites. Even if they might not believe all the things that Israelites say, they're going to start being like, man, we got to be the Israelites, man. And then you Edomites are going to try and eventually start trying to turn back. But it's going to not go that way for you, man. Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, and all this white guilt that you people talk about, man. Y'all never had it. You never had that guilt, man. It was never there. It was never real. Don't try and make it like you was loving to us and that you cared. No, you didn't, man. No, y'all never cared. Because if you really cared about us, you would have admitted that we're not black. And you wouldn't have made all these fake new age terms for yourself neither. You would have just told the truth about who everyone is on the earth. And when you Edomites are going on proud, just remember this fact, that you have to lie about everything to make yourself seem like you're supposed to be where you are in life. You've had to literally lie about your own skin color and call yourself white when you know you're not. And then you'll hear that be said and you'll say, oh, well, obviously we don't mean that we're literally white, but that's the closest color. No, just tell the truth about what color you are. Tell the truth about what color we are. Our skin is not brown or not black. Our skin is brown. Admit who you know that we really are. You know that we're not African. You know that a Somalian person and a so-called African American are not even the same. You know that. But when a Somalian does something, you'll try and throw that on a so-called African American, who you know are really the children of Israel. But you play dumb about it because your society and your whole existence has been always based on lies. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So all these things that you're saying is going to end up being a snare unto yourself. You're going to draw the first. You're going to draw and start it first, man. But Yahweh's going to finish it. And we know you don't like us. But guess what? We don't like you either. That's the thing about it. We don't like you either. And don't make be under no delusions about the reason why you hate us. It's not because we commit crimes and all these things. Because there's other people in the world that commit crime as well. There's your own people that commit crimes against your own selves, man. Your own people commit crimes against you. They're the reason why you're poor. It's not because no immigrants that came over. It's because your own people use the cheap labor of all the other countries around the world, and those people had more skill than you. And now your own country can't run off of your own hands because it wasn't founded off of your own hands. Your country began from slavery. So the only way for you to keep your country going would be to do slavery again. But you're not going to be able to do it again, even though that's the plan. And it's mad that all these Edomites are trying to they're so desperately fighting and talking all this stuff for this society, right? When their own people, and this is how dumb they are, but I don't care that they're dumb. I want all of you Edomites to take the Charagma. I want all of you to take the Revelation 13 and 16 device. Because there's no point of you not, because you're going to get destroyed anyway. But this is how dumb they are. They're running their mouth in defense of this society, right? When they must not know that this society wants to give them the Charagma as well. But they're so dumb. And they don't need an excuse to hate us. They just hate us anyway. We could literally live life exactly the same way as them, and they'd still hate us, because if we was to follow exactly the same rules as them, we'd still be better than them anyway, because we're better than them. And that's why every single turn they've did things to try and sabotage us, man. They can talk all this talk about stats all they want. I don't care. I don't believe none of the stats that they say. I don't believe that. Because I've worked in places and I've saw Edomites stealing. And when Edomites do things and break the law and do things wrong when they're teenagers, they get looked at like, oh, he's a teenager. But when an Israelite does something wrong, or a so-called black person does something wrong, because that's who they think we are. They don't believe we're the Israelites, but we are. But when a so-called young black person does something wrong, oh, he's a young man, or he's a man. If a young Israelite male does a crime when they're 19 years old, oh, he's a young man. But when what they're called an Edomite is a teen. They're just hypocrites all over the place, man. And they know they're doing this. And it's all of them. It's not, oh, the chav one does it. No, all of them don't like us, man. They're all out here trying to bait us into snares. They're trying to bait us into snares because they're unhappy that they didn't have the skill necessary to compete in their own society. And unless they had an unfair advantage, they could never deal properly. They could never compete with an Israelite on an equal playing field. They can't, man. They can't compete equally. They can't compete with China equally. And that's why they have to do this whole tariff thing. Because if they could compete equally, there wouldn't be no need to do all them crazy 100% plus tariffs. There wouldn't be no need to do that. They'd just be able to, whoever's got the best product wins. Simple as that. Whoever's got the best product, they win. But they know that their own people, even as much as they talk about all this Edomite pride stuff, they'd rather have them Moabite vehicles, them Chinese vehicles in their country. They'd rather spend hundreds of £1,000s less to have a better vehicle. They'd rather do that. They'd rather pay less for more, but their own people are keeping them away from doing that. But then some of these Edomites are so dumb, they didn't even know that most of the things that go into their country was made in China, because the average American is a stupid idiot. Especially the Edomite ones, man. Because the Israelites, we've always known that this society is corrupt. And there was a time not long ago where these Edomites used to say, oh, it's not us, it's the elites. No, it's all of y'all, because look at what y'all are saying now. And if you want to know, right, how the world really thinks about things, you can't try and find it like in the open. The online voice is the true voice of the world, man, because people can hide themselves there. The online opinion is the true opinion. So when you're on these videos and you're seeing all these Edomites saying all these things that they say, no, that's the real way that they think, man. The open, the out in public word, that's the fake. That's what they're pretending that they are. But what they say in public, online, on their online accounts, that's what they really think, man. That's the way how they really think about things. Now, let me read this scripture, man. Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 22, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. So when they talk all these Israelite so-called black people in prison, well, that just further proves who we are anyway. We're snared and hid in prison houses. Because if every single time an Edomite commits a crime, they got arrested and put in jail for what they've did wrong, there'd be a lot more of them in there. That's the thing about it. And if you watch any of these body cam arrest channels, you'll see that when some Edomite woman, her dad's the police chief or something like that, or she don't get arrested for doing a DUI. She don't get the same thing as another person. The law of the country of America, the law of the country of England, right, is not even fair. The way how they judge situations is on a case-by-case basis, because some of these people, sometimes when an Israelite, a so-called black man steals something, they'll get on the comment board talking about, oh, his hands need to be lopped off. And I'm thinking, huh? Is that written in the laws of your country that his hands should be lopped off? Or would you Edomites say normally about another country that does that to people, that they're savages for doing that, but then now you're asking for it yourself? If it was written in the law that that's what's supposed to happen when you do that, if it was even in your own laws, then it would make sense that you're asking for that. But if you make that be the judgment for the crime, then that's supposed to be the judgment for anyone that commits that crime when you steal. Not, oh, he stole a Greg sandwich, so now his arms need to be locked, his hands need to be locked off. Because then what if someone steals a car? That's more expensive than a sandwich. Someone stealing a sandwich is stealing to eat, more than likely. But if you people are Christians, you'll know that a man stealing for him to eat, you're not supposed to do nothing to them. He's not supposed to be just for stealing to eat, man. Because he's doing it to sustain his flesh. It's when he's stealing for luxury, then it's a problem. Like when you crash the stock market and then start to make it reignite again and buy the dip, doing some insider trading and all that. Which the stock market is, if you actually was to be able to know and predict what's going to happen in the stock market, you could quite easily turn £10 into millions by the end of a year, man. Right? And there's this point out there, man. It's called like the penny that doubles every day for 30 days, and one pence, man, that doubles every day for 30 days ends up becoming millions. I think it ends up being like 5 million or something like that. So it would go from 1 pence to 2 pence, 2 pence to 4, and then once it starts getting to like the double and triple the figures, it starts going mad. Because the free figures starts to be like the mid 3 figures becomes 4 figures. Then the 4 figures, after doubling a few times, starts to become 5s. Then the 5s start to become, you see? Like, look it up if you want to see what I'm talking about. The penny that doubles every day for 30 days. But then these Edomites, their main focus is the people that they know really that we don't have no power. And they're complaining that some Israelites, some so-called black people are breaking the law. But what about your own people that break the law, though? What about the ex-president and his son was up on a madness? And then he just pardoned him? What about that? Why don't y'all talk about that, man? Why don't you guys talk about that? Why don't you talk about how your own country is being isolated from the rest of the world? Because they're making dumb decisions for your country. You people are trying to fight to save a burning ship, man. But then, we expect you to do it because you're dumb, right? We know how you people are. You're stupid. Verse 22, who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not Yahweh he against whom we have sinned? And that's the reason why you people have been given the power over us right now, because we sinned. So all the things that you want to say about us, we understand it, though. We understand that we have to go through this Jacob's trouble. You're going to do your thing. Then Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to make us do our thing. You're going to be the ones that attack us. Just like how Haman attacked Mordecai and the Israelites, man. You're the bad guys of this story. You're not the good guys, right? You Edomites are not the good guys. Nobody's able to deal with you fairly. Nobody's able to deal with you in a fair way, man. And that's and how you are dealing with us is gonna let all these other nations know, don't trust them. How you Edomites dealt with Ukraine, your own people. People are realizing, man, we can't trust these guys because they're the ones that baited Ukraine into trying to want to join NATO. And now that they're at war, they're like, oh, you're not safe to join anymore. It's not safe for you to join anymore. Sorry, we ain't gonna do that. But we'll take $500 million worth of resources, though. All the other countries in the world, and we're like, man, we ain't trying to deal with that. But all of these Edomite nations, they hate us. So don't start thinking that there's some Edomite nation that they like us. They all hate us. And they're supposed to. So don't start getting sad about it. They're supposed to not like you. But on the flip side, you're supposed to not like them. And I want to say this, it doesn't matter. It's not, oh, I don't like them because they're breaking the law. Because even when you're not breaking the law, they don't like you. Even when you're just minding your business in your neighborhood, they don't like you. Even when you're just walking about in your day, not worrying about what they've got going on, they're being weirdos. Trying to antagonize, trying to start something. They literally went over to a whole nother country and stole it and have called it America now still to this day. But then somehow everyone else is a savage. Yet there right now, these so-called civilized people have came up with 1,001 ways to make a man look like a woman. These so-called civilized people. But they'll say, oh no, that's the left. That's not us. That's the left. The right don't do that. You're all demons, man. And all of these Edomites that are brave and that they say all these talking points and stuff online, right? It only makes sense what they're saying unquestioned, right? If they was to be in front of the Israelites saying these same things and we're using the Bible and talking about their whole society and all the things that they're saying, their talking points would eventually fall away and they'd have to just say, hope that they can win it by saying, you N-word, and hope that you beat them up. So that it can be forgotten about all the things that you caught them on in the scriptures and in logic and making sense and in the facts of the history of their people. And it would just be the main focus of it would be, oh, he hit me. That's what they want to try and do, man. Verse 24. The last part, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore have he poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it have set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, that he laid it not to heart. And you Israelites decided that you don't believe who you are, man. You're trying to worry about scoffing and making memes on us. Just know, whatever reason you think that these people don't like us, right? If you think you want to say, oh, it's because we're black, or if you want to be that simple still, right? Whatever the reason is, right? They still don't like you as well. They still don't like you as well. Because all of you would admit that they don't like us if you're telling the truth. But then you're trying to say, oh, don't talk about that. You're making an excuse. You're victim blaming. But they like to make excuses for why they ain't this and they ain't that. If they can say that immigrants coming over into their country have stopped them from being rich, right? Then why can't we say that the Atlantic slave trade and our ancestors going through slavery has not made us rich? If an immigrant never took their job, could we then say, oh, an immigrant never took your job, so you can't say anything about immigrants taking jobs because no one ever took your job? That's what they say about us. But oh, you was never a slave, mate. How do you know what we've been? How the hell do you know what we've gone through, man? According to what, if we're to believe what you say, Haitians were eating cats and dogs, but then it turned out that that wasn't true, didn't it? According to what you say, people have things on their knuckles, but then it turns out that them things are not true. If we listen to you, if we was to listen to you, we'd all have about 15 doses of the C19 in our body by now. If we was to listen to what you said, but we didn't listen to that. We didn't listen. So don't try and make it like you people are so righteous, man. Because you're not. You're a bunch of demons, man. And I'm going to end the video there, man. I just wanted to talk about that, man. A little, maybe it's a rant a bit, man. But it's annoying to me how these people, these heathens are trying to go on like they're so righteous when we know that they're not. Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.